31st gate, the gate of influence in the throat center, pointed down towards the G center, and its harmonic gate, the 7th gate, the army. And together they form the channel of the alpha for good or bad, the design of leadership. The 31st gate is the throat gate, and as a throat gate, it is a gate of primary articulation. That is, the capacity to be able to express logical leadership. This is part of logic circuitry, and as logical leadership, it is a voice that says, I lead or I don't lead. Influence is the law of friction, whether active or passive, that engenders transference and thus influence. And everything about the 31 is its ability to be able to share. If it cannot share, it cannot lead. It's one of the things that is so interesting about collective leadership, is that collective leadership is not something where a single force can claim its position. And this is one of the things about the 31st gate. The 31st gate has a capacity to express the voice of leadership, but it can only do so in the sense that it is recognized by others, elected, selected, chosen, however the language works. And it's only with collective support that the 31st gate truly has its influence. If it has not been brought to that position, then the very power it has to articulate is a power that will be diminished, and in fact, very few people will actually listen to it. And that you can see the reality of the 31 in the first line. Remember, as you investigate hexagrams and begin to understand their nature, always start with the first line, because it is the foundation. It gives you a basis upon which the entire structure is formed. Now, the first line of the 31 is called manifestation, and it's very, very clear. It says, influence cannot exist in a vacuum. And it has purely two sides to it. One side which is solar, which is the sun, which is the side that, can open up its light and can be a leader for everyone, because it is the one that is elected. It is the one that has the support. It is the one that is not operating in a vacuum, or those who simply operate in darkness, because there is no one to share with. And what is so interesting about the 31st gate, what in fact is so interesting about this whole channel, is that if there was ever a channel that we could call political, this is the one. It is all about knowing how to find those, who will support one, the leader that can share with others, that can speak to others and motivate them and move them. But it's a catch-22. You can have all this wonderful power in your throat to be able to lead, and there's nobody listening, and there's nobody there. And so, in fact, when you're looking at the 31st gate, you can also see something else. Whenever we're looking at the hexagram structure, we're looking at a division between the lower trigram, which is very much self-absorbed, and the upper trigram, which is transpersonal. Now, upper trigram lines, the 4th and 5th and 6th lines, have a capacity to work with the other because they have a clear recognition of the other on the other side. But that's not the case for the 1, 2, and 3. Much more difficult for a collective leader to have a first, second, or third line, because it's much more difficult for them to learn how to accumulate the forces that will give them the support they need so that they can take their collective position as a leader. When you're dealing with the upper trigram, beginning with the 4th line in its ability to network, can quickly build